Beyond breaking news, this is Broken News with John Swalski.
Touched his crotch, and the bartender said, "Why do you have steering wheel touch your crotch?" And he said, "I don't know, but it's driving me nuts."
Oh, shit. Hello, and welcome, everybody, to Broken News. I'm your host, John Swalski, and boy, do we have one hell of a show for you tonight. It's our first episode of Broken News, and here at BNN, we could not be more thrilled that you've decided to join us. Our senior argumentative correspondent, Natty Galdi, will be presenting our first Crossfire-style segment entitled Let's Debate, and later on, our first guest, yours truly, will be answering the New York Times 36 questions that lead to love. You hear that sound? That means that we're getting a call from LA from our band leader and my cousin, Mike Greenwood. Hey, Mike in LA, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, John. How's it going? Good to see ya. Funny thing, band leader, huh? Well, I don't really see much of a band here, so...
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, Mike, it's kind of a ceremonious position. You know, I thought, yeah, you don't have a band per se, but, this could be good on your resume, right?
Resume. Good one, John. I looked at the contract, and I don't see anything about payment. Is there, direct deposit, or how do we do that?
Whoa, Mike. We're not going to talk about the contract right now. We're live.
Oh, the old pay-to-play runaround, huh, John? Haven't heard that one before. Getting real tired of it. But if we are live, I'd love to take this opportunity to promote my band, Approaching Zenith.
Whoa,
Mike, we are not. We're really excited for it.
Sorry, Mike. We're not going to be promoting Approaching Zenith. We're using this as a vehicle to, get our guests out there and their art, not ours. And I gotta say, man, from the bottom of my heart as your family, Approaching Zenith, stop. It's awful. And that accordion solo that you tried, you don't even play the accordion. It's awful, dude. Just stop.
Hey, John, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Mike, yes.
Oh, good. You can hear me. Well, great. I'd just like to take this time to promote my band, Approaching Zenith. We've got a 12-back
for crying out loud, Mike. No,
you know what I'm saying?
No, stop. I'm sorry, we're going to have to see you later in the episode. This is just absolutely ridiculous. I don't have time for this.
Psst, it's a monologue.
Moving on. The IRS has extended the deadline to file taxes this year. And honestly, I think this is for the government's benefit more than it is for the American public. I mean, Uncle Sam over there in D.C. has a lot of shit he's trying to get through right now, and we get it, babe. You're coming off a bad breakup. You don't have the spoons for all this right now. Take your time. And with that time, work on some self-care reform. Don't worry about us, though, because when you're ready, the country will still be here, and it'll still be super fucked up. Spring is here. The early morning growl of snowblowers and plows has been replaced by that of chirping birds and the early morning scream of lawn care equipment. Typically, seasons changing signify a time for restoration of balance, like how I used to balance work and life, and now I balance my OnlyFans and my Plantstagram. It's that time of year where we plant seeds, we hide eggs and we try to wear shorts in 50-degree weather, but I'm telling you, you're not fooling anybody. You're freezing your balls off. But luckily, we won't have to do that so much anymore. Time where the snow finally melts from death's frosty grip, emerges new life, discarded cigarette butts, and huge quantities of dog poop. I mean, mountains and mountains of dog poop. It comes in so many different shapes and sizes and colors and strata. It's gross. It's gross. The hyperbolic time chamber, however, that we were forced to endure throughout COVID-19, for some people has been some sort of house arrest, and for others it's kind of been like this little cocoon where we all came into March 2020 as little tiny caterpillars, unknowingly in need of working on ourselves, working out, and developing new hobbies. And I, for one, am really excited to tell you about my new hobby where I binge drink hard liquor. And apparently I was not alone. In this past year, the US hit an all-time high of $31.3 billion in liquor sales, over $2 billion more than the previous year. And to put that into perspective, if every hard liquor company came together and created its own country, it would, number one, be the coolest fucking country in the world. I mean, oh my God, why is this not a thing? But, furthermore, if this number represented its own sovereign nation, it would, number two, surpass the GDP of smaller nations like Aruba and Jamaica. And according to our BNN World Trade experts, if you combined those two countries and even tacked on Bermuda and the Bahamas, the US of alcohol would still somehow have a higher GDP. And this isn't as much a shot at these cruise party countries as much as it is a reference to a place called Kokomo, where we'll get there fast and then we'll take it slow. Fun fact, Kokomo is actually in Indiana, less than 3 hours from where we are right now. We've provided a map to show you. But despite the increased damage to our livers and strange stares from our pets, that is where we wanna go. Way down in Kokomo. David, you wrote this one, right? It's a lot of Beach Boy shit. Now, I'm not saying that I have a problem, mostly because it's my fucking doctor who is the one who told me I do, and coworkers and family and friends and stuff, but it is becoming a large, potentially unhealthy part of many of our lives. The National Institute on Alcohol Abuse and Prevention, or as I like to call it, NYAP, has been experiencing intermittent consumption rates this past year lower than its peak in 1981, even through the early 1990s. That's right, millennials. Don't matter how hard you try. When it comes to the golden era of Michael Jackson, you just can't beat it. So, what's the problem here? Are we drinking too much? Are we spending too much money on booze? Or are we just trying to survive with whatever means we got? Hard to say, but thank you. We here at Broken News want to raise our glass because God only knows that our livers need it. Gin. When we come back, our senior argumentative correspondent, Natalie Galdi, will be going head-to-head with yours truly in a segment that we're calling Let's Debate. But first, a word from our sponsors.
Today's show is brought to you by Chips Rice Crisps, all of Uncle Chip's favorite non-chip alternatives for your chip-related activities. If they're chips, then you know they're not chips. Let's debate.
Thank you, John. All right. So as journalists, we know all too well the pitfalls of the 24-hour news cycle, right? Like less and less of what we see on shows like this is news. Reporting the news has become an excuse for talking heads to wedge their personal opinions into a story. Well, at BNN, we know that opinions mean nothing without facts. Facts are like hypoallergenic cats. They're not objectively cute, and they need sweaters. So tonight, in our debate segment, I'd like to bring back some journalistic integrity and simply argue the facts. Now, I know I'm not perfect. I know that I have inherent bias, just like everyone else. I know I love to share my opinions, especially on hot, divisive topics, just like these. It's probably why I'm not on 8chan anymore. But pretending to be objective doesn't help anybody. So this time, John and I are going to switch it up and bring you a real, factual discussion. I'm going to do the work, and I'm going to argue from a position I have no experience in. And so is John.
Hey, Natty, we are? I didn't really...
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm down for whatever. I mean, I just prepared for this as a regular debate, so do you want me to read these beforehand, or...?
Oh, no, yeah. Look, I got cards here too, baby. But remember, we need to be brave, okay? We owe our viewers our vulnerability.
Yeah, I like that. Of course. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know what? Let's do this. I'm I'm game. I'm game.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. As you know, I'm a hard-nosed conservative with deep familial and religious ties to the KKK. In fact, I'm proud to say that it was my family who beheaded the beloved University of Miami Gator as a rite of passage. Wait, Natalie, I don't think that's right. And also, this is not me. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but remember, you're arguing from my point of view. Got it?
As an ethnically ambiguous cis woman with a love of all genders, I believe women should have autonomy over their own bodies fully. Yeah, I mean, okay. I do believe that. Okay. Birth control pills are critical to sexual liberation, but they are also a major contributor to hormonal imbalances which affect all women differently.
I know.
And access to reproductive health care is limited for many women, and even those women think taking whatever pills have been peddled by the hardest pharma reps are not necessarily the right one for her individual health.
Say it. Yes. Yes.
Fact. Women pay higher health insurance premiums until they reach the age of menopause due to the potential that they might have a baby.
Yes! Oh my god. Fuck yes. Preach that shit.
This includes women on birth control and even women who don't have uteruses. Uteruses.
John, I love this. I love this on you. I love it.
Fact. Number 2. Childbirth is associated with more short-term risks to a woman's health than abortion. This means women are literally putting their lives on the line every time we choose to follow through with a pregnancy, yet the entire country acts like because it's natural and maternal that all women should do it and it should be up to everyone else to tell her what to do?
You hear that? That's the sound of me going, yes, queen. Say it loud. Say it proud.
Fact. A woman having an abortion has nothing to do with you or me.
Fuck yes. Abso-fucking-lutely.
Unless you were directly associated with the making of the baby, the decision that this woman makes has absolutely no impact on your personal life or your finances. What are you afraid is going to happen anyway? Worst case scenario, her baby grows up to be a serial killer because they didn't have stable financial resources because her parents insisted that she have the baby even though she was only 16 at the time because they needed to make a point about God's plan.
Yes!
And at the same time, God's plan seemed to include lots of judgment from her immediate family, her baby daddy family, and her close friends who ended up alienating her with guilt, even though having a baby is supposed to be like life-changing, beautiful experience, am I right? And after the pregnancy, since she barely finished high school and had to get a GED, and wasn't able to start college because she had to work 3 jobs to make ends meet because her baby daddy bounced and impregnated her former best friend, of course. Her parents would make a huge stink about the babysitting and tell her she was on her own and not to ask them for money because she made this bed and she had to lay in it. Lay in it?
You said it, not me. I mean, I wrote it, but you said it.
So because the baby ends up growing up unsupervised for a lot of the time, only socialized in school settings, and constantly taken from their mother's custody because the state won't help the mom with things like childcare and basic necessities, bouncing in and out of foster care to the point that the child eventually develops a deep-seated rage and malcontent for anyone who doesn't, quote, get them. And then that grown-up teenage baby crosses paths with you with their part-time car wash job, and you get short with them because your stupid card reader is all scratched up and the card reader won't read it. And then later that night, an angry teenage baby uses your membership information to find your house and straight up ends you. Like, that's the only way an abortion would really affect you. If you stood in the way of one. Natty, do you, I think it's your turn.
Oh, you know what, John? Sorry, I had a little too much wine. Honestly, like, you have made some really valid points, and I don't really see anything else left to argue. So thank you so much for tuning into BNN. This has been a debate. Back to you, John.
Wait.
The Breakdown.
Breakdown.
Thank you, Natalie. That sure was something. A former police chief in Maryland has been convicted of 12 separate arson charges, though some sources are including a rare instance where he intentionally burnt a full tray of blueberry muffins, making the total amount of crimes, a baker's dozen. The Senate has changed the most recent COVID relief bill to only help individuals making less than 75 grand a year and couples making less than $500,000. And as an added bonus, couples making less than 75 grand a year receive a painful reminder of America's crippling wealth gap. A new universal basic income study shows that people receiving an extra $500 a month saw an increase in full-time employment along with improvement in financial, physical, and emotional health, and I think that is crazy. Who would have thought that more money makes life easier? This study was brought to you by, of course, the people at the Federal Bureau of fucking kids that had housekeepers and shit. This chart confirms that more money actually coincides with less problems. I think that should be fewer problems. But a pandemic-related decline in birth rate means that Americans will have 300,000 fewer babies this year. See, fewer. The so-called baby bust theory is being challenged, however, by who else but people on Facebook. While birth rates have always been known to rise and fall with the economy, never as drastically as in 2020, revealing that the additional fertility factor all along was haircuts. In an unrelated story, researchers have successfully trained dogs to sniff out the COVID-19 virus in large groups of people with almost perfect accuracy. Early results have already confirmed a dangerously high concentration of the virus in other dogs' poopers. Rolling Stone published an article claiming a whole generation has been left in limbo. Limbo, not what Jimmy Cliff was referring to, but the dance is, of course, a great metaphor because this pandemic has surely shown us how low we can go. So yes, Gen Z is stuck in limbo, but not to be outdone by the younger generation. Millennials are claiming that they've been stuck in secret Hitler, and boomers, of course, they're still playing Monopoly. They still have all the money and all the property. A former toxic dumping ground off the coast of California is said to be mapped by what is being described as deep-sea Roombas. And just like Roombas, they will have the toughest time trying to dock. Check this out. Now that video is literally entitled Roomba Commits Suicide. Great. Thanks, California. Now Roombas are going to be drowning themselves. A series of photos featuring Lady Gaga hand-feeding Adam Driver had gone viral. Hashtag relationship goals, am I right? If and only the relationship was that of, between a parent and a toddler. More like hashtag Oedipus, am I right? Congratulations, you two. You're both so not hot anymore. The banjo player from popular band Mumford & Sons, David, get off it, they were once popular, they're not even cool anymore, is stepping down after a social media post where he endorsed a book with far-right extremist ideologies. It's captivating scenarios like this that make you think and ask the real questions, like, who the fuck is a banjo player from Mumford & Sons, and do people still read books?
David does.
Guys, you're not helping. It's an age-old question. Can intimacy between two strangers be accelerated by having them ask each other a specific series of personal questions? In columnist Mandy Len-Catron's modern love essay, To Fall in Love with Anyone, Do This, she attempts to definitively answer that question with a yes. Recently, in order to put myself to the test to best introduce myself to you, our at-home audience, I tried my hand at asking the question, can intimacy with myself become accelerated if I ask myself those same questions to give myself the same sustained, escalating, reciprocal personal self-disclosure that might at least help me get to second base with myself? Our very own John Schwalski is at the state-of-the-art rooftop deck here at BNN's Treehouse Studios for more. Take it away, John.
Thank you so much, John, for the wonderful introduction. As you know, I'm here with yours truly, you even, John Schwalski. It's so great to see you, John.
Thank you so much for having me, John. I really appreciate being here.
I'm gonna start off with this first question and just see how it goes. Ready?
Okay, sure. Let's go. Let's do it.
Given the choice of anyone in the world, whom would you want as a dinner guest, living or dead?
Dead. If I had to partake in cannibalism, I think it would be easier to have the person already dead before I cook them, because it depends on how you're going about it, but cooking a live human, the screams, number one. Oh my God, that would be terrifying. And number 2, blood makes me a little weirded out. Debt. So debt. Could be anyone, I guess.
Oddly enough, I think I know exactly where you're coming from. Yeah. You know what? Let's keep going. This is good. I'm liking it. Before making a telephone call, do you ever rehearse what you're going to say?
I rehearse like a rockette getting ready for a Christmas special, because I think it's very, very important to practice multiple options of even just the greeting. I can give you a couple hellos if you're interested. Okay. Hello. 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 Hello? Just a couple. That's just 4.
That was a wonderful response. And we're gonna go to question 3 right here. What would constitute a perfect day for you?
Waking up in the morning, something happening during the day, and then going to sleep at night. If all of those things can happen, that's a perfect day, right? That's a full day.
Fascinating, man. Fascinating. I mean, you're a wealth of information and a really intriguing person. Question number 4. When did you last sing to yourself? And what was the song?
I sing a lot to myself, as you know. It's one of my favorite things to do. But there's something, I guess it's kind of weird, very, very me, which is I sing Jingle Bells in the shower exclusively, almost every day.
When did you last sing to somebody else? What was that song?
About a week ago, I sang to my roommate, Rodrigo, Jingle Bells.
Didn't you say you sang that in the shower? If you were able to live to 90 years old and retain either the mind or body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want?
Can you just start over and repeat that question, please?
Sure, absolutely. If you were able to live to 90 years old and retain either the mind or the body of a 30-year-old...
I don't think this question is fair. I'm not really good at word problems. We always sucked at math, so I don't think this is really cool of you to do. Like, okay, so like if a Union Pacific train is traveling 50 miles an hour from Dodge, Kansas, and it needs to go to Wichita Falls, like, how fast does the train...
This is a yes or no question. There's only 2 options. I mean, we're bad at fractions, and this has nothing to... This is a simple yes or no. Not working for you? Fine. This is getting more and more interesting, isn't it? Do you have a secret hunch about how you're going to die?
Oh, that's a much easier question. Yeah, I hired this guy named Jan about 5 years ago. He's kind of like a Cato to me, where, you know, at any moment that he is predetermined, not myself, he will do the deed.
You're not supposed to say his name. I can't... That's just one rule, dude.
Well, I mean, Jan's ready at any time, so it probably will happen sooner now, I guess, because I spilled the beans.
If you could change anything about how you were raised, what would it be?
If I could change anything about how I was raised, I would probably do it again. Maybe grass-fed, free range, no chicken coop.
I'm not sure I'm following you, and from where I'm sitting, it doesn't seem like you really understand the content or the way the question was asked. And so, with that, we're gonna move on yet again. Question number 9. If you could wake up tomorrow, having gained any one quality that you currently don't possess, what would that be?
Webbed feet.
Webbed feet.
Webbed feet. I mean, I think you and I can both agree that we're okay swimmers, but what we really don't have is thrust. And I think webbed feet would be a more efficient way than flippers, because I always trip when I'm in flippers, and I don't really like how they feel. Can't get the sizing right for some reason. Don't come in half sizes. But if I had webbed feet, imagine how easy it would be to travel. You could go from New York to London in like Like an hour.
Fascinating. I think more people should answer that question with things like that. Is there something that you've dreamed of doing for a long time? And why haven't you done it?
Well, I always dreamed of having my own, like, fake absurdist news show. And so, you know.
You could say you're doing it, sure. I mean, it's kind of strange that you have yourself as your own guest. I think that's...
it's our first episode, so I feel like it's going well, but I guess now I'm thinking maybe it's not. I thought it would be kind of like a self-love representation, as well as a fun way to introduce myself, who's primarily a director, as an on-air personality.
I just feel like... I think you're looking at it way more positively than others might around you, but, not everyone can accomplish their dreams. It's okay. With that being said, what is the greatest accomplishment in your life?
Well, I was gonna say fulfilling the dream of having my own news show with some friends, but you kind of just clubbed that one to death, so thanks.
What is your most terrible memory?
Well, the chicken coop was a really hard time. That whole year was really bad. The conditions were awful. It smelled like unprocessed nuggets in there, and I had to fight, and often I would lose in competition with other chickens for dominance.
That's sad, but personal, as all these questions are. So please, I apologize if this is too foreign, but when did you last cry in front of another human being?
I did cry in front of Rodrigo after he spurned my advances with the jingle bells and stuff.
Oh, too much information there, John. If you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having done?
Well, Jan has already been paid, and as you already mentioned before, I gotta stop saying that name. So I think, if anything, I'd have to John Wick my way out of this one. Or we would have to. John Wick 3, because 3 less.
I'm going to choose to not interpret that anyway and just move along. Your house, containing everything you own, catches fire. After loved ones and pets, what is the one thing that you would grab if you had a safe final dash opportunity?
Oh my God. Wow, if my house caught on fire, I guess, well, you said the loved ones are okay, so Rodrigo would be okay. And Dwayne, the Pet Rock Johnson, I would assume is already, that is included in pets. He would be out safely too. I think I'd try to save you.
You blush over here, that's really nice.
I love you, bud. You're great.
I love you too, bud. I think we should see other people. John?
Thank you so much, Johns. I feel like I just learned a whole hell of a lot about myself, and I hope our audience feels the same way. And now it's time for our signature sign-off segment, Tinkle Time, with musical accompaniment by Mike Greenwood. They say an apple doesn't fall far from the tree, but oranges, they roll. If you're going for distance, I suggest oranges. So like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this come out of my mouth. Thank you. We'll see you next time. For BNN, I'm John Schwalski. Thanks so much, everybody. Bye.
Can I get that fish back?
Beep,